is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle if you have not met me already. I am finally back after like my almost a month long hiatus. If you follow me on my Instagram, then you would probably have seen what's been going on with me. And if you would like a full video on my mental health updates, then definitely let me know and I can make a lengthy video talking about all the things that have been swirling around in my little brain lately. But I just needed a little bit of a break. That way I could kind of refresh myself and in turn be able to produce better content for you all. I also have gotten some new subscribers, so I just want to take the time to welcome you all. I am a lifestyle content creator with a niche in music festivals, festival fashion, anything rave related, beauty related, and then just music in general. So if that resonates with you, then please hit the subscribe button and stay a while. We have a lovely little community. I also have tons of things that I am planning as far as content for the spring, so there'll just be a lot more fun things coming your way, so you better stay tuned. Okay, intro's done. That took me fucking forever. Since I have been gone for a little bit, I thought that I would treat you guys with another festival story time, because I know that all of you love to hear all of the experiences that I've had. You can probably tell by the title of this that this is another like substance related story time. With that, I'm going to give my disclaimer as I usually do. Just really quick, over on this channel, we are very safe about the things that we do. I also fully believe 100% that you can be completely sober at a festival or rave and have just as good of a time. But if you are going to try it, I do recommend that you make sure that you are testing it, getting it from someone that you trust. Setting plays a huge part, so you should definitely be in the proper mindset before you try anything. Make sure that you're around people that you're comfortable with. Do a lot of research as far as what to do to prepare yourself before, and also you should do tons of research on what to do to prepare your body afterwards. None of us are invincible. I love you all to pieces, and I just want everyone to be super safe and have a super happy fun rave. Now I'm going to get into a story that completely contradicts everything that I just told you all. I hope that if anything you can learn from the story and not follow my lead. So don't do this, everybody, just so you all know this was done incorrectly. Where do I begin? Normally when I share these types of videos, I always thought to myself that I would not like to give away where I was during this time, because I don't know, I don't think it's very fair to like put any type of venue or festival on blast, but I do kind of have to explain where I'm at in this instance because it makes a lot more sense as to why things had happened to me the way that they did. If you have been watching me for a while, then you will know that this past September I had gone to Elements Music Festival and it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of drama as far as the festival being oversold and stuff like that, but I did, in the grand scheme of things, have a super fun, fantastic time. And this was also the first festival that I had planned to drive to alone. I was really busy with work and stuff like that. I didn't have time to properly plan and prepare as far as getting all the things that I needed. Mistake number one on my end is that I rushed into it and I didn't really have a very good game plan, and also I didn't have very good guidance because I was going by myself and meeting up with friends that I had only met up with at a festival once before. So there you go, boom, set and setting. Was already off to a rocky start. I'm not going to go into too much of the drama as to what had happened because I do have a full video talking all about all the things that did happen at Elements. So if you are new to my channel and you would like to know what happened, I will link that somewhere around here. But basically, because it was such a shit show getting into the festival, I had well overpacked and overprepared as far as the things that I was carrying. My body went into a complete shutdown as far as physical fatigue. I could not carry my bags anymore. So it got to the point when they finally let us in that I was just so exhausted. And I think that honestly set me up for the weekend as well on how I was feeling internally. That kind of pushed me to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it through this weekend. And now I am going to need something that is going to get me through the weekend, which was another mistake right then and there. You know, I just needed a good night's rest. Okay, period. Well, I did meet up with my friends. I did have help. I was not completely alone. And honestly, that is how I met my boyfriend at Elements. So if you guys are like that story time. So I did have help. I eventually did find my way to the cabin and got to meet up with Eleni and everybody else. So right then and there, I feel like I was very vulnerable as far as like who I was going to go to get these substances. At that point, I guess you could say I was desperate. I mean, your bitch is never desperate. I just wasn't doing it right, and I just kind of rushed into like, okay, who knows a guy because I need a guy. So I met a guy. He was like a friend of a friend of a friend. Basically, he was like, what you need? I got this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And he's like listening all of these things, and I'm just like, I am not fucking Rick here, okay? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm not a chemist. He was pushing these mushroom Tootsie Rolls. Side note about me, prior to this experience, I had only tried mushrooms once, and I was not at a festival. I was in a safe environment, basically. I had done it with someone who was quite experienced, was very trusted, and microdosed me, which is how you're supposed to do it, everybody. That's how you're supposed to do it. I guess because this was in a different form, it was in the form of a Tootsie Roll, I didn't really know how much I was taking, and I didn't even really know what it was. I swear I'm not this dumb. Like, everything that I'm telling you guys played such a huge part into why I did what I did. I swear I've never done this in the past, and I will never do it again. Mind you, this was like in the middle of the day. Not even, like the festival barely even started. There was really no one even playing just yet, but I was like, I know if I drink right now, I'm going to pass out before the music even starts. So I was like, let me just take like a little bit of this mushroom Tootsie Roll. The guy did tell me how much was in the Tootsie Roll, but I wasn't really paying attention. Oh, God. Hearing myself talk about this is like embarrassing. I was just so eager to get the day started. Your bitch knows how to fucking party. I just did it wrong, okay? And I didn't want to be lame, so I was like, all right, let's rally. I want to rally. I took a little bit of the Tootsie Roll. Honestly, it was just like a little tiny bite, and I didn't know how to properly dose this. Regrets. So many regrets. Anyways, to be honest, I really lost track of time here. But to me, I was feeling like it wasn't hitting. Rule number one with any of your substances, always take a little bit and just wait it out. If you feel like it's not hitting you, like, wait a little bit longer. It probably was like only an hour that had gone by, maybe not even. Maybe it was 30 minutes. I really don't know. Like, I had such a gap. We were just like walking around, like experiencing like the cool shops, getting some food and stuff. I basically wanted to time it in a way that I knew it would last me, so that way I could have like a really nice trip going, like I would say midday into the evening time. But since it wasn't starting to hit me, and I was looking at the time and getting a little bit nervous, I decided to take the whole thing. We all decided to go back into the cabin because we were getting ready and prepared for the artist that we actually wanted to see starting to come on at that time. I remember that I like sat down on my cooler that I had. That is basically just when it all hit me. It started off with like a lightheaded feeling, and like everyone's voices started to echo a little bit, which to me, it wasn't what started to freak me out. I was just like, oh, it's hitting me. But then my heart started racing really, really fast, and that is kind of when I was like, holy shit, like something's not right. My immediate reaction was to get up and start pacing. Like I had said, I do have anxiety. I have social anxiety. When I am overthinking, or when I'm feeling jittery, like sometimes if I have too much caffeine and stuff like that, I'll get like this. So normally what I like to do is just start pacing. So that's immediately what my mind started, like, I guess, thinking about is like, okay, we'll just get up and start walking around. I would just remember being like going in the cabin and like walking back and forth, like from where my bed was to like the door, and just kind of like pacing a little bit. The paranoia was hitting, and I started like getting kind of nervous. So I kept like getting up, and I'm like, maybe I should pace. And then I was like, maybe I should sit down. And then I was like, maybe I should pace. And I was like, maybe I should sit down. Like, I did not know what to do. And then this wave of nausea started happening. When nausea hits, like that is something that I've always been very fearful of with like anything that I've taken before. I am not a puke and rally princess, okay? When I throw up, it is over for me. I mean, at this point, I'm starting to trip. Like, my trip is starting to come up. And I just remember, like, hearing, I guess, almost like my mom's voice. I don't even know if my mom ever said this advice or ever gave this advice. But basically, like, I used to get very sick as a child, and like not knowing what to do, I would just like lay down. So it was like my mom's voice coming in, and she was like, just lay down. So I was like, okay. So I just like crawled into my little cot bed and just like laid straight on my back, and I was like, I do not know what to do. Like I should just close my eyes at this point. While I'm like laying down, just like experiencing this really weird trip, everyone was ready. So like, okay, are you ready to go out? Like at this point it was the middle of the day, and I like sat up, and it was weird. It was like little lines basically going through the cabin. Everybody's faces were like starting to morph a little bit. I am very able to be like, it's just the drug. So even though it sounds scary, like seeing people's eyes were like, they were fucking like bulging out of their faces, and naturally because of festivals, everyone wears like crazy looking like psychedelic shit, and all of that was like moving around and stuff, and the walls in the cabin were like breathing basically. When I sat up from seeing all that, it just made me nauseous again. So I was like, I'm gonna lay down for a little bit. And they're like, okay, well, we're gonna go out for a little bit. We'll meet you later. And I was like, yeah, that sounds fine. I didn't want to come off as if I was, I guess, being sketchy, because like I said, I'm very good at being self-aware with that kind of stuff. So I knew what was happening to me, but I didn't know in this instance what this is that I could do to properly handle it. I basically just wanted the trip to be over, which is so shitty. I fucking ruined it by taking too much. As far as the passing of time, I could not tell you guys. I had no concept of time. I remember in different instances, people from my cabin were like walking in and out, and I could hear their voices, and I could hear, I was conscious, like I could hear things, but I just physically couldn't open my eyes, mainly because I was trying to sleep. I was dreaming in a way, and I also was trying to just not throw up, basically. Was I necessarily sleeping? I don't think I was, because I know it's very, very hard to sleep when you trip. I also couldn't physically open my eyes, to the point where I think it was a blend combination of me dreaming and then being kind of like awake, almost like in a REM sleep. Like I could hear things. I was conscious, but I think my physical body was asleep. While I'm tripping and while I was hearing voices, not hearing voices, it was the voices of my cabin mates. I wasn't fucking crazy. They were like having conversation amongst each other. Specific words from what they were saying were being like pulled out. This is like all what I'm experiencing. They were being pulled out, and like I was like picturing like a merry-go-round, and each word were like sticking into like a cart and like vibrating out onto me. I hope I am painting a picture here, but basically, let's just say they said, that's funny, or something like that. So the word that's funny would like go into the merry-go-round and like almost would like come at you like a word pick art or something, and it was just going around in circles and circles, and like I was hearing it over and over again, and just like visualizing this like merry-go-round of whatever catchphrase that they were saying. It just kept happening. It was making me fucking dizzy, okay, period. I also do have vertigo. I don't know if I've ever shared that on my channel, but I'm like almost certain, because of all the like spinning in my mind, it was making things a lot worse. I didn't want to be left alone, but I also did in a way, because I didn't want to scare everybody. I don't know. It wasn't necessarily like a pride thing, like I can't throw up, like I can't handle my drugs. It was more so like I didn't want anyone to feel like they needed to take caution, because I was fully aware of what was happening, and I knew I was fully capable of getting my shit together. I just needed to get the trip out of my system, basically. The artist that I wanted to see the most, because this was the first time I had ever seen her at this point, was Closey, and she was coming on at like 7, I think. Like I distinctly remember, or like 7:30 or something. So I had set my phone alarm for that. Rule of thumb, bitches, like festivals are a lot of money, and I'm not gonna fucking pay all this money just to not hear the people that I came to see. Every time that I woke up, like I could just tell that the times were changing, but I still had no full concept of time. Eventually I woken up and the whole cabin was silent, but I looked over and I saw Eleni was sleeping too. So I was a little bit confused, but she said that she had felt sick at one point as well. So luckily she was in there at this time, because that was kind of when the trip was like subsiding a bit, and it was kind of hitting me. I was like, yeah, bitch is about to throw up. And I just remember like looking at the cabin toilet bowl, and the cabin toilet bowl was like literally looking back at me, and we're both like, what the fuck? Another thing that I felt like, and it could have been because like it was getting cold. It was a little bit colder in general around this time. My body was just like so freezing. I was like shivering to the point like where it actually hurt. So I tried to go back out with everybody. It was too much. Like the air was like bone chilling because all my senses were like heightened. When people were talking, their laughs were just like ringing in my ear over and over again. And I literally remember like standing outside at one point and like going like this, and I was like, I am so fucking scared. Like, I need to go back inside. I ran back in and I changed immediately and just like laid back under the covers. So this is the part where I wouldn't necessarily call it an ego death. No trip that I've ever had, no experience that I've ever had has been to the point where I literally am like dead and then reborn again. Like, I don't know. I just think that it gave me some revelations, which is why I like to call it an ego death, because I did learn a lot from this. While I was like laying there after I had gone back outside, I started to cry, and I was alone at this point. It was hitting me that I had been very, I guess, headstrong with a lot of feelings, and one of them being the fact that I insisted on going by myself to this festival, which if you had watched my Elements story time video about that, then you'll know why. A lot of it had to do with like me wanting to overcome my anxiety. I just remember kind of saying how foolish I was being. I couldn't do it alone, you know? Like I tried to do something alone and I messed it up. I don't know, I was just like really upset, and it just kind of like, it showed me I do very much enjoy camaraderie, and I enjoy friendships and connections. And even though I can go to things alone, I know that I'm fully capable of going to any event alone. That doesn't mean that I should. It kind of taught me a lot about like how I want to endure my festival experiences moving forward with friends. If you've been following me for a while, I have explained that I kind of changed my friend groups and such, and at that time I still was feeling like kind of like a floater and what group that I really belonged in. But shortly after, that is definitely when I learned that those are my people, my cabin people. I love them to death. And then also like at Lost Lands, the next festival after that, I learned like I am with my people. I have found my people. And during that festival is when I met my boyfriend. I felt so alone in the time that all of this was happening. But Elements was like one of the best festivals in the sense like where I learned like I am not alone. Finally, I was able to get more of like a deeper sleep. My timer did wake me up for closey. I was trying to find Emily and my boyfriend. Well, he wasn't my boyfriend at the time, but I was trying to find that group, and I also was trying to find Eleni and everybody else, but there was no service. There was no way that I was going to find everyone. Plus at that point it was dark. I just went and listened to a bunch of different artists by myself, and it was lonely but very spiritually awakening for me. By the hand of God, I like looked over and saw one of my cabin mates, so he was like, come on in, like, how are you feeling? Are you doing better? And I was like, I'm doing much better, thank you. We just listened to a few different artists together. Basically, I learned that everybody was looking for me that whole time anyway, and I was not by myself. Even though I was by myself, like, I didn't have to feel embarrassed, and I didn't have to feel alone. And like basically I had the support the entire time. After that, I later like was talking with some of my cabin mates, and they were like, didn't that guy say it's like 5 grams in that Tootsie Roll? And I was like, I hope the fuck not. To this day, I don't really know how much I actually took. Lesson learned. A little goes a long way, you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this story. Hopefully I can edit it down into something that makes a little bit more sense and isn't too long. Give this video a thumbs up if you like my festival story time, so that way I know to continue to create them, because I still have tons more to share with you guys, as well as I will be making tons more memories coming up in this near future too. I don't really know how to wrap up something so crazy like that, but I just want everyone to know, stay safe. Less is always best. You can always take more. Also, cherish your friends. 100%. That is it, you guys. I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.